welcome to Draining the Swamp with my co-host Mel Dore, the Aloha Shirt Psychic, and special guest tonight, Amy Warrior Princess. Arthur's not with us. It's Marina's time with Arthur, not mine. As y'all know, we share custody. I get Arthur at the beginning of the month. She gets him at the end of the month. So
Yeah.
anyways, so all kinds of fun stuff happening and going on. Um, I don't know about the chemical fire. I didn't even hear about it. So I guess it's not a problem in our area. I
Is
haven't
there
heard anything on the radio about it.
is there something on in the background? I can hear almost an echo or something.
Yeah, there's like a weird echo thing going on. I'm not sure what it is. Um, let's see. Okay, it's Amy. I think your phone's picking up either a fan or the AC or something. So we can just mute you when you're not talking, and then that'll work. Get rid of the feedback. So hello and welcome to everybody, and so glad to finally have Mel back. He's been in and out, in and out, in and out, and so we've had to cancel the show a few times, and just all kinds of fun stuff going on. Mel, let's see, you've still got your Peru trip still has some openings, correct? One opening. So if you're interested in the Peru trip, then make sure you give Mel a call at 847-590-5411. That's how to contact him. And let's see. And of course, Androniki Skincare. If you're interested in doing that, Andrew will be my guest on Saturday. He's coming back to talk about all of the hassles he's had with shipping and running out of product and getting things back up and the ball rolling again. And he's such a delightful man. I enjoy talking to him.
He was
We
on
get on
today.
the phone and we talk for hours. It's like it's
He was
just
on the phone
amazing.
today with Linda. He was on the show today with Linda and I.
Yeah.
And I remember when he got the backlog and he kind of panicked. And I said, if you have a backlog of stuff, that's good. It means the product is excellent. So no panic. But he's a really nice guy. And, he's very spiritual.
Yeah.
And also he had oral cancer. And so I never knew that.
Right. Yeah. He had told me that, but I never repeated it because I didn't know if he wanted other people to know. When we were talking backstage or either on one of the phone calls, I don't remember which, and he was kind of filling me in on it. So, and then for information on the election results and the fraud they have found, you have ETA, electiontruthalliance.org. They're taking donations because they're in the process of starting to file lawsuits in different states and counties for information to be put out and to get copies of the paper results and everything from the equipment and the machines. And there is also smartelections.us. They do the same thing as Election Truth Alliance, but they've been hitting other states. It's like they kind of like maneuver around each other with what they're doing, but at the same time, they're sharing information. So when one finds something, they let the other one know. And so that's been really good to see that. And so those are just a few of the items for everyone to kind of check out and see.
The other thing, Shari, is I want to tell everybody about Benicia, California, in
Yes.
November. Linda said there's a few openings left. It's almost sold out. But you would go to Linda Grindel, GRINDEL.com, and then /events, and then go down and you'll see Benicia. And I think it's BENECIA, Benicia. And you can sign up there. So I'm excited about that. And next year, God, I sound like church lady, didn't I? Next year, We have a cruise on the Danube. It starts in the Czech Republic, comes down through Germany. We get on the boat in Germany, go across Austria, stop in Bratislava, into Budapest, and then also a trip to the Galapagos to see the animals. That's going to be incredible. So that's for next year, and I'll be posting that when I get it. So be sure and sign up. You'll have a
Absolutely. Once Mel posts it, then I can add it. And
Europe is safe travel. It really is. People are worried about traveling. It will be safe. I promise. Otherwise, I wouldn't be going.
I think it's safer over there than it is over here by
I was
far. It's not going both ways.
either you're reading my mind or I'm reading yours, because I was just going to say the same thing.
Exactly. And thank you, Catherine Gilbert, for the free membership you gave out. I'm not sure who got it, but somebody just got a free membership for a month. So thank you very kindly for doing that. And we don't get to pick and choose who gets the memberships. It's all done by the algorithm. So, you have to bow down to them and say, okay, do something good. And Amy is finally showing back up again. She's kind of been out of pocket for the past year, dealing with family issues and whatnot. And so we're happy to see her back up in here and running again. And so let's get started. If I start calling out names, y'all, we'll be calling out names all damn night.
Shari, I'm sorry. There's still something going on in the
I
background.
know, I can hear it and I can't figure out where it's coming from. I thought it was coming from Amy's mic, but it's not. Because when I muted it, it still kept going. So I'm not sure if it's on my end or if it's just some kind of interference. So I do apologize, y'all. So, yeah, so I'm not sure what is making the little feedback loop there. I've kind of checked everything on my end, and I'm not seeing anything on it could just be the internet. Our internet has been wonky as hell for the past week, so it's been kind of crazy. But my apologies, y'all, if the sound is too bad. I guess let's start out with Mel and I were talking backstage about the latest stunts of the current occupant of the White House. That's what I've decided to call him now. Is just the current occupant of the White House. And so, oh, hi, Emerald. Sorry, darling, we're not taking personal questions tonight. It's political questions only. But if you come back later in the week, one of us will be on air. You can ask a personal question then.
I call him the DIC. You all can sound it out.
Yeah.
Called the dictator in chief.
That's it.
He's talking about sending National Guard troops to Chicago because, according to him, we're killing each other in the streets, which is just totally not true. In Chicago, I mean, we have a high crime rate, but we are absolutely not the highest. I think Memphis is.
Yeah.
Notice he's not sending any troops to red cities or red states.
Nope. Only the blue states and cities with black mayors.
Right. And I think that's an intimidation. And I also think it's what I would call a divert, deceive, detract, distract, divide, and try to destroy. Those are the D's around him that I've come up with. Kevin and I came up with those, actually.
Yeah.
I think he thinks that, Shari, you hit on something before the show that you said that, when he tried that stunt in LA, he was trying to incite violence. Or trying to incite people to protest and get it violent. So then he can try to say, you see, I sent the National Guard, or it's a litmus test, I think, for I'm having a senior moment. It's a litmus test, I think, for martial law.
I agree. I keep dropping
Yes.
cards.
Our governor here has, spoken out against it. Um, I'm just totally, Chicagoans were hopping mad, and we're like, bring it on, Donald, because, um, it's a distraction. I think distraction from the Epstein files, and now his executive order about flag burning. You know, I've never
Yeah.
burned a flag. I don't believe in it, but the Supreme Court says it's our right to expression. And if somebody does that, they shouldn't go to jail for a year. There's other people that should be in jail, like the DIC, director,
Mhm.
dictator in chief. He's a convicted felon. And I just, we have to start being proactive instead of reactive. We have to let our voices be heard, speak up. I see massive protests coming, and he's going to try this in other cities, and it is what he's trying to do, as our governor said, is just really bully people and try to frighten people, because if you speak up against them, here's the National Guard and they'll arrest you, they'll do this, they'll do that, which they're not supposed to do. And it's just it's an intimidation to voters, and intimidation to people who live here. Our city is run very well. I mean, we have our problems, and sometimes it's not run so well, but we do not need the DIC, dictator in chief, in our city telling us how to do things.
Yeah, especially when everything he does
It's
is
illegal or unconstitutional. And I have
I
a
just
feeling,
found out today. Oh, sorry.
and I have a feeling that a lot of those members of the National Guard are going to passively aggressively do things to protest against Donald Trump. That's what I see. And Chicagoans will be protesting. We're not afraid to exercise our constitutional rights. And if you live in Chicago, my advice is, let's all get out there and do peaceful protest and tell him to take him and his National Guard and shove them where the sun doesn't shine.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
You can't lock us all up. You cannot.
Did
So,
you, I found this out. Did you know that they're going to stop doing the COVID vaccine within the next 6 months?
no, I
Well, they
didn't.
pretty much already stopped it. You have to pay for it now, and they're charging full price. So it's like nobody can afford to get the damn shot anymore.
Well,
Which
they're going to
means,
stop. They're going to
which
stop it altogether.
which
Yeah,
means that means people are going to be coming down with COVID, and
yeah,
that means people are going to be dying. People ask about another epidemic. Well, if they do that, yes. But the problem is the Trump regime, the DIC. I can't say it. We'll be put in YouTube jail if I just spell out DIC. That's an insult to a DIC, by the way. Uh, if
yes,
they're not going to tell the truth about the statistics, they're going to continue to lie, and everything they say is a lie. So,
Yeah.
um, uh,
yeah.
Just wear your masks, y'all, and be ready.
and I think part of this is a diversion because the whole Epstein thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Every time something comes out about the Epstein files or with Ghislaine, boom, he pulls a stunt and does something crazy just to get everybody to shift over and look at that instead. Um, uh, uh, it's and in the meantime, what did I do with it? Damn it, I just had it and I lost it. Jay Roberts had put in that the farmers in Nebraska are mad as hell because they can't find anybody that'll go work in the fields for $11 an hour and pick produce under the hot sun, backbreaking work. It's like, yeah, you go out and pick fruit for $11 an hour all day, and then come back and tell me, how easy that job is.
Well, number one, people picking fruit in the fields for $11 an hour, in my opinion, and this is my psychic opinion as well, is institutionalized slavery.
Yeah,
Now, we're going to complain when our fruit prices go up, if you can even get that fruit. And I guess the question is, why did we allow this to happen in the first place? Have we gotten that bigoted and that discriminatory to allow a DIC to be able to do the things he's doing to our Latino community and to this
yeah,
country if you're not white, upper class, and privileged?
yeah.
It's very
Uh,
it's very frightening, and it's up to us to say absolutely not. You
I'm
know,
trying to remember who it was. They had, I'm not sure what the position was of the leadership person. It was in one of the red states, Georgia, Alabama, one of them. And they were asking the gentleman, well, if you've gotten rid of all of your immigrant workers and everything, who's going to go out and work in the fields? Oh,
nobody.
well,
But
we got all these black people here that's on welfare, and they can go do it. And I'm thinking to myself, do you realize what you just said? I mean, even the interviewer was just like gobsmacked
How
with,
can somebody, okay,
and
who
he was
is
they
in
have a brain the size of a pea. What do you think?
right. I mean, I just think it's a travesty. But you know what? A lot of those farmers voted for him. And they
Mhm.
drank Kool-Aid. A lot of people did.
yeah,
Uh, and it just goes to show how everybody's suffering because of the DIC's just complete disregard for anybody but himself. And he's playing to that base of bigots. But now that's going to bite him where the sun doesn't shine, because those same people are going to have to pay a lot more at the grocery store. They're going to have to pay, except they don't have to pay their taxes. But yet they're going to be complaining about, the high cost of living, this, and that, but yet they're making buku money. Trump's base his little base, it'll dwindle down to his little base. But a lot of other people who thought he was going to be the great white hope, guess what? Found out that he ain't smart. He ain't the great white hope. And now he's treading on everybody's rights from a party who talks about more individual freedom.
yeah,
Help me with
exactly.
that one. I'm sorry,
Amy,
I'm on a rant and I need to
that's okay. That's okay. Amy, you were getting ready to say something a minute ago, and I cut you off. I didn't mean to.
Oh, that's all right. I was totally off topic, sort of, but a friend of mine from England told me they would never move here because they've got more rights than we do.
Yeah,
most
They,
exactly.
countries do. I mean, a lot of the countries in the European Union, they pay a lot more taxes, the working people, but the rich pay their fair share. Everybody pays their fair share, and they might pay 50% in taxes, 50%, but they get a lot more bang for their buck. Their health care insurance is maybe $100 a month or $200 a month, not 2,000. They get they get their medication. You know, they pay this much, we pay thousands of times more. There's a medication for cold sores. A certain drug chain here wanted almost $1,000 for the cream. You can get a tube of it in Europe for 15 euros. Hello.
Yeah,
So you're right that they have a lot better social programs. Their educations is better on the grade school and high school level, and they get a lot more bang for their buck.
I saw a podcaster talking to, he had a guest on who was from Canada the other day, and the Canadian guy was like, why would we want to move to a country where we would have less rights, no health care, no access to medication unless we got buku bucks in our pocket? When right here, if I get sick, I just go to the doctor. If the doctor writes a script, I just go pick it up at the pharmacy. End of story. There's no big costs or anything like that. He said, he was like, I might pay a couple of pennies on the dollar or the euro, whatever it is they have in Canada.
They have
Dollar.
Canadian dollars. Yeah. So he was like, we may have to put out, a little bit to cover some of the excess, but he's like, nothing at all. He says, I hear people complain about, oh, well, this socialized medicine, people have to wait for months to get an appointment. He's like, tell me what doctor office you can call today and get an appointment in a week where you're not waiting 2 to 6 months to get in to see them. He's like, I don't know of anybody in any country that doesn't wait 2 to 6 months to see a doctor unless you're bleeding out and you're in triage at the ER.
or unless
That's
you know somebody.
exactly,
But I'm going through that right now, though, because I need surgery on my hip because I'm in extreme pain. But the only hospital that's an hour away from me will not take me in because I don't live in their district. But then they turned around and said they don't want to deal with my insurance. So they won't, and they're the
Yeah.
only hospital that can do it. And I'm like,
Yeah.
excuse me, I'm disabled. I have cerebral palsy and my hip is killing me. It needs to be operated on. Nope, sorry.
Yeah. It's
I think the person to talk to about things in Canada is Marina.
Yeah.
She lives in
and
Canada.
she and I have had some good discussions on that too. So
As a person who has CP, cerebral palsy, this brings up a very good question, I think. Are you worried about the trajectory of healthcare in this country?
Yes.
The rising cost of medication and, cuts to Medicaid and all of that. How do you, are you worried about that? Talk to us about that.
Yeah, I am. Because I am on so many medications that I have to take the rest of my life. And one of them is for a congenital heart defect that will kill me at any minute if I don't take my medicine.
yeah.
So, and I have I have hyperthyroidism because
Hashimoto's?
No, I have hyperthyroidism because I have a mass pushing against my pituitary gland, which I have to get checked every 6 months to make sure it doesn't grow. So if they mess with it, I'm effed.
Yeah. It's when my son had that heart attack last year. Thank God he was on Medicaid at the time. I mean, they took him in. He was there for almost 48 hours. They were doing EKGs and blood tests every hour on the hour to discover that it was a hereditary. He was born with a hereditary heart disease. Um, and so, uh, thank God that he had his Medicaid. We only paid a little bitty amount, to kind of what wasn't covered. But I hate to think about what it would have cost had we have not had if he had not had Medicaid for
Well, in
his
Illinois,
insurance.
it's illegal now. It used to not be, but it's illegal now. I don't know if it's federally, but it is in Illinois. For credit for hospitals, if you have a hospital bill that you can't pay or a
Yeah.
doctor's bill, it's illegal for them to put that on your credit report. And it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, people
could be.
are being penalized credit-wise for being sick or for having an illness. This what you all just said. Well, I'm glad that he had to medicate, but it's sad that here we're seeing somebody on our show with cerebral palsy who is a living example of how Trump's policies can hurt someone, and you take that times thousands, and now you get the impact of what he is doing, and it is morally wrong, and it should be legally wrong,
True.
and
Yeah.
what I think is illegal or should be, and it just goes to show how our country, or the MAGAs, if you will, treat people who are ill. You don't treat ill people that way. A society
Yeah.
has to take care of its hungry, it's poor, it's ill, and we're not doing a very good job of it.
And
And
if you claim to be a Christian, you definitely should be supporting those programs because that's what Jesus said to do. You feed the hungry, you clothe the poor, you house them, you take care of them. I mean, that's part of your call to duty of being Christian. That's part of your marching orders, I guess, that Jesus
Mhm.
gave to people.
Well, I just want you to know that you have our prayers and our support.
Oh,
Absolutely.
thank you.
And
But what's really sad is both my brother and sister are staunch MAGA. They will never ever change. Okay.
yeah, I see people down here that just
They won't change until it hits them in the butt.
yeah,
And then when it's
and they get sick.
And then what'll happen is they get in the blame game. They wanna blame everybody else. You can't blame the Latinos anymore. You can't blame the Muslims
Nope.
anymore. You can't blame all that anymore. So now he's blaming the Democrats and the Democratic cities. And, it's just chipping away at our democracy piece by piece. And my guides tell me it will get worse before it gets better,
Oh
but
yeah.
our democracy will endure. Our union will stand.
Hmm.
you know, um, and our freedoms will last. Abe Lincoln's spirit came through and told me our union will stand, our union will endure, our democracy will stand.
Yeah, I mean, everything that I've gotten in the last 6 months has all been going to get a lot worse before it gets better. And every time it gets a little worse, I'm like, okay, is this it? And I get back, nope, it's going to get worse. So that's what I've been telling my people. It's going to get a lot darker.
And is
But
this what
in
it
the end of
takes for
the
us to
week,
finally stand up and start protesting
yeah,
even more? Donald Trump would like for this country to go into a civil war because then he can say, I'm good. He wants the anarchy. He wants the chaos. He doesn't
yeah,
care if he gets bad press. Well, the Epstein files is scaring him, but he doesn't care if he gets some bad press in the comments he's making because he stays in the news. I would
yeah.
like to have one day without Donald Trump. The
Oh,
media mentioning one
God,
thing.
wouldn't that be wonderful? I
mhm.
actually threw some cards on all of this. I was curious. The first thing I got was communist country. So that's far different than what a socialistic or a social democracy
There's
is.
a difference between a communist country. The difference is a communist country, not a socialist country, but a communist country is a dictatorship of the party or of one
Mm,
person.
yeah,
Trump, what's the difference? A fascist country is a dictatorship of one person.
exactly.
When people say
Um,
you're anti-communist, then you got to be anti-Trump because either way, you're getting a dictator.
exactly. And then I pulled covert corruption.
Bingo.
Yeah, you think?
Overt
And
now.
then I got knowledge withheld.
Yeah. Controlling the media. That's what he's trying to do.
Exactly. It's non.
Before I come on, I always Google breaking news. And, I get it from Reuters and I get it from, all the media outlets. Um, But now I notice in breaking news, the White House is starting to put out their own version of things.
Yeah.
I refuse to click on it because I know it's
Yeah. Well, it's like us here in Louisiana. I mean, we've got a MAGA governor, MAGA state house, MAGA Senate, and they're part of the ones that are in the process of they're going to try to redraw the maps to get rid of the additional underprivileged maps that came out of the last drawing up of the maps when the census was done. And so it added like one or two more districts, especially in the New Orleans area where it's very heavily Democratic and it's very heavily black or brown skinned people. And they're all up in arms about that. Oh, we can't have that. We got to get them all down into one district. Can't be having 2, 3 districts to match with the numbers of people that are there. So, I mean, it's happening everywhere. It's not just, I mean,
You know, Kaya May says something here. She says, I can't wait for the truth to come out. Americans are awakening. I can't wait to feel united again. Well, we're going to get further polarized, but piece by piece, like Lena Rodriguez says, piece by piece, people are going to be dropping away from Trump. Not all of
oh yeah,
his little base will still be there. Once he's gone, they'll crawl back in the woodwork, just like the Nazis did that were for Hitler. Once Hitler was gone, you know, they kind of crawled back in the woodwork. But piece by piece, people broke away from Hitler. And it's the same that will happen here. You know, here. Patrick Duncan says something I like. He said, but it's not intimidating people. It's pissing people off what Trump is doing.
right.
And true. And
They're
maybe
expecting a particular kind of reaction and they're getting the totally opposite reaction
correct.
to every stunt they pull. And that's what's really, I think, confusing to the current occupant and his folks is because everything they try to do is not getting the response that they think they're going to get.
And
Because that's just how pissed off people are, you know. So
Jay Roberts says, I believe the red states have the highest crime. They do.
they do.
They're
They do.
looking at violent crime. But let's look at the crimes against breaking laws, like constitutional laws and you know, breaking discriminatory laws and stuff like that. They're notorious for that. You know, they're not talking about petty crime. They're talking about violent crime. But the thing is a lot of the red states have more violent crime than the blue states. So go figure.
Yeah, exactly.
I was gonna say I pulled 3 cards right around the same time Shari did, and they are a
Okay,
lot
what
like
you got?
Go ahead.
I got man-made disaster,
Ooh.
serial killer, and secrets.
Well, ding, 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 ding. Amy just won the internet today because every one of those fits perfectly into what we're seeing. I mean, it's
I didn't do it, my guides did. Hello.
well, yeah, but I mean, it's I had started up doing, I call it my lunch break musings now. I do a little quick 15-minute political reading every day on my lunch break when I'm sitting out on my lunch break. And record it on my phone, which is why I look all wrinkly and lit because I don't have a filter on my phone. So and but it's amazing. I went for 2 weeks straight. I drew almost the same exact cards every day for whether if I had a particular question or I was just checking the temperature of how things were looking. I kept getting the King of Pentacles every time it had to do with current occupant. That's the card that would come up. I kept getting the Death and or the Tower card. I kept getting the Five of Wands card, which is a lot of conflict. I kept getting the Ten of Swords being stabbed in the back. It was like over and over and over again. I kept getting a lot of the same cards and I was changing decks. I thought, well, okay, well, maybe it's just the deck I'm using. So I did another deck. I got the same damn results. So yeah, spirit is very clearly trying to let us know what's going on, and
There's two comments I want to bring up. Bonnie Russell says the 19 states he mentioned break down to 2 blue states and 17 red states. He's sending them here to red, also to red Ohio. Yeah, but he's really picking on not so much the states, but the cities like Chicago, LA, New York, you know?
Yeah, if you have a bigger blue city in your state, even if your state is red,
Correct. That's right.
where he's going. And if you have a person of color who's
Right.
in charge of that city, he's definitely going to send
Think
people.
about Chicago, LA, Black Mirrors, and that's because, in my opinion, my psychic opinion, he's a bigot and he's a racist. The DIC, Cialini. But Maureen D'Amico says something that I love. And she says, I would love to see them try to pull anything in Southside Chicago. They will all be crying for their mamas. As we say in Chicago, they're going to be crying for their mamas.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, go ahead, Donald. And that just a light bulb went on in my head to say, he's not sending those National Guard into poor neighborhoods or bad neighborhoods where the crime rates are astronomical. He's sending them into the more areas of the cities where there's very little crime at all. And then he can say, look what I did. You didn't do anything, Donald.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that, Maureen. That is a phenomenal observation. Thank you.
I like the question Nora asked. Is Cialini getting visits from his parents and from the realm?
No. Anybody that would be that goofy wouldn't be getting visitors from the realm.
Yeah, no. I think if he actually started seeing people from the other side, that would be the one thing that would completely tip him over the edge.
Yes.
Although there is rumor that he wanders around the White House at night talking to nobody there, just wanders around and looking at, just. And first time I heard that, I thought, yeah, he's sizing it up to see what fit in his pockets when he leaves.
My guides tell me that's just because his diaper needs to be changed.
Yeah, exactly. And
Dr. Surfer Chick.
and yes, Catherine, we are a loving community and a really good community.
That's right. But just because we're loving and kind and caring and helping does not mean we have to be doormats. And it does not mean that we will not speak up against injustice, racism, hatred, or bigotry. We can get angry, still be loving.
Yeah,
True.
It's.
I mean, I've always been a fighter all my life because of thank you. Because of my cerebral palsy and everything, I've always had to fight twice as hard to get what everybody else has. I've even been subject to job discrimination and everything else. So this fighting for my rights is like, okay, let's go. I'm a fighter anyway. Let's go.
I had more rights when I was 10 than I do now at 64.
I remember when I was in college, I needed a job, and I tried to get a job at the Bowling Green Country Club. I hope they've changed now. Hi. Which in those days was private. And I remember I wanted to be a waiter because, I'd been a waiter, and I was a really good waiter. And I remember drinking one night with the bartender and the manager of the country club, and he goes, I will never put you out on the floor to wait tables because you're gay, and gay people need to be in the kitchen with everybody else, with all the other whatever.
Lord.
And I quit. And in those days, there's nothing you could do. We had no rights.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I hope that has changed. But I've been, probably not as bad as what you have, Amy. But I've been bullied and beat up. Well, I can't say the words on YouTube. They'll put us in YouTube jail. But all of the horrible denigrating words that they would call gay people. And I've been denied jobs. I've been denied all kinds of stuff. And so I get it. But it made me stronger in a way, and I will keep fighting. I will not be a victim ever again, ever. And I can't, and I think that us Americans should not be victimized by a DIC. So I'm glad you brought that up, Amy. And I
Yeah.
think your message sends a message to us to keep fighting, to not be victims. We don't, you know, it's a very powerful message you're giving us. And thank you.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
And
You know, Dr. Surfer Chick says Indiana has a DIC junior
Oh,
for governor and Republican 70% control. Unfortunately, we don't have midterms. What do you see for Indiana? Good question. What do you
what do
think?
I see for Indiana?
yeah. Well,
Let's
that's where my
see.
sister lives, and where my mother is in a nursing home. So, because I'm in Michigan.
But isn't it crazy that they are MAGA and they don't, and they support the DIC and the Medicaid cuts? But for people in nursing homes, if you cut that Medicaid, they might not be able to stay in that nursing home because Medicaid pays for it.
There's going to be a lot of
So what are they going
well-to-do people who are going to suddenly find out Mama and Papa's got to move in with them because the nursing home is not going to take them no more.
That's right.
It's going to have to be my sister, not us, because we can't do it.
Well, change is coming. Yes, it is. Full social media, and that's what's going to help that change come. Because we've actually got people that are no longer afraid to tweet out, mail out, whatever, whatever it is they want. Amy got the same thing.
You got
And then
social.
And I got social media.
Yep. And then I got tornado winds.
Okay, so what do you think social media means, Amy?
To me, social media means not just the internet, but any way to get your voice out to say, hey, I'm fed up with this, and which makes the changes that you desire. Like writing letters, like calling your newspaper, because we still have a newspaper here in Michigan, believe it or not, where I live. Making phone calls. Those do make changes. I've seen it firsthand. So, if enough people complain, then they will end up with a Democratic governor eventually. I don't know if it'll be this time, but it will be like maybe two governors, like this one, and then the next one will be Democrat. You see what I'm saying?
So you see them going purple.
Yeah.
Shari, what does tornado winds mean?
To me, that's just the chaos that he's creating with tornado winds. It's creating the chaos that we're seeing everywhere. It's also a representation of the weather and how wacky the weather has been getting.
I'm laughing for a reason. I've got my hearing aids in and you all can't hear my iPhone. But every time on Shari's show, and I said, Shari, this hurricane or tornado winds mean, my phone thought I was asking Siri what it meant. And it's going, well, tornado winds are. That's why I was laughing. I had to turn it off.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I just see it as representing chaos, just complete, total chaos. What was that card, Amy? Hold that up again. Lies. Yeah, more lies. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go.
And
Yeah, in the neighborhood. You got it. I mean, it's
Amanda Kell says, never has drained the swamp been more appropriate. I agree with that.
Yeah. Draining the swamp to see what all is at the bottom of the muck.
Oh, Jay Roberts says, Nebraska said they're going to go bankrupt if they don't have people picking the produce in the fields. And that's what we're going to see in a lot more states, and blame it directly on Trump. So I got an idea. Why doesn't the governor of the state of Nebraska, the lieutenant governor, all the MAGAs in that state, and that governor was a MAGA, all the MAGAs in that state, why don't they go out and pick the fruit for $11 an hour?
Yeah.
In the hot sun. I think they should do it. What do you all think?
I spent a summer when I was in like middle school age working in the fields and picking cotton.
Oh, that's the worst.
That is the worst. I still have scars on my hands from that because the leaves of the cotton plant, the leaves are like razor sharp on the edges. And if you don't get your hand in there just right to pluck that ball of cotton out, it will slice your hands up. And then you get blood on the cotton, and then it's no good. And then they get pissed off. So, I mean, it's a real, there's a real art to picking it, which is one of the reasons why they eventually went to machines doing it. But this was part of like a school project thing for, I guess, for kids of all walks of life to discover what it is to work on a farm, and they have to go out and pick the produce. And then once you pick it, you have to bring it in. You got to shell the peas or snap the beans or, do whatever. I mean, I growing up as a little girl, I was a city girl during the week, but I was a country girl on the weekend because I would go with my granddaddy out to his parents' place where they had like 100+ acres of land and raised cattle and grew stuff. And so weekends I was out there milking cows and gathering eggs and doing all that fun stuff. During the week, I was able to be a city girl and didn't have to worry about it. But I learned real quick how breaking is.
On my dad's side, they all, they say tobacco, and some of the people from they'll say backer. Well, anyway, they grew tobacco. We say tobacco in Chicago, but where I'm from, they say tobacco. Well, they grew it, and so in the summer, in the way it works was in those days you have to have a plant bed, and they burn wood, and that plant bed is not real big. And then you take the seedlings and put them in the plant bed, and you put a tarp over the top. So when the seedlings get like to be little plants, you write it on the thing that the tractor pulls it pokes a hole in the ground. Then you had to put each tobacco shoot in.
Yeah.
Now, when the tobacco gets a certain size, it gets a top thing on it. You got to sucker that tobacco. You had to go in the tobacco field and cut all that off. And then right around Labor Day, they would cut tobacco. And the way they would do it is they had these, it looked like a hatchet, but they were razor sharp on the ends. And then they would put them on this big, long stick, huge, long stick, about 6 foot. And then they would put it on a wagon. And then the men would climb up to the top of the tobacco barn and hang it. And then right around Christmas or thereafter, it was dried, and you would strip tobacco. And one of the best grades was called trash. Well, we had to go out and help cut tobacco, but I was like 11 or 12, 13 maybe. And I would drive the tractor in the field, and you'd have to step on that clutch, and it took all of my energy. I had to try to stand up to hold that clutch.
Oh, yeah.
Tractor had to be still while they were cutting and spearing the tobacco to put it on the wagon. And it was a relief to be able to let off that clutch and real slow drive that tractor to the tobacco bar. And I could remember that. And, the tobacco, the leaves have these little furry things on the bottom. And boy, you itch like there's no tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Get chiggers. Yes. Oh God! If y'all don't know what chiggers is, you don't want to know.
You don't want to know. There's one thing about being in the South. We got lots of chiggers down here.
Lots of chiggers. Grandma take kerosene rags and wrap them around our wrist and our ankles, and let us go blackberry picking. And then she'd make a cobbler. But we love that. But boy,
yeah, I remember picking a lot of blackberries too. So
figures the kerosene keeps them off. But I would love to see the governor and a lot of those, Nebraska senators and House members go out there.
Y'all get out there and do it.
That's right. Go out there
You
in the
know,
fields and let
I
them go.
mean, I like what Jeffros said. MAGA would rather watch food rot than help anyone or feed the needy.
You got that right.
Absolutely correct. I mean, they are throwing food out left and right because or they're letting it rot on the trees or on the vine in the fields because there's nobody to pick it. And if they do have it picked, there's nobody to ship it. I mean, it's a case study of cutting off your nose to spite your face.
Isn't it a crime that when this food is rotting in the fields and he cuts off aid to those countries and people are starving, and we have people here who are homeless and starving, and we're
Yeah.
throwing away food because it's rotting in the fields because they've deported the entire workforce.
Yeah.
Hello.
And the few that are still here are too afraid to go to work for fear of getting chased down,
My light bulb just went on. In Romania, I think his name was Ceausescu or Ceausescu. I got to pronounce it correctly. Nicolae Ceausescu or Ceausescu, I think. In the beginning, when he took power, he brought prosperity to Romania. But at the very end, things got so corrupt and so bad. He was exporting all of the food from Romania to other places, and the Romanians were starving. They didn't have a deficit because he was exporting all of their food products. And look at what happened to him. Ultimately, people said, "We've had it." They stood up, and he was arrested, tried, and executed on Christmas Day, I think, or Christmas Eve. And my light bulb went on, and they're showing me people in this country. Many of us are going to feel the same way about DIC.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if he'll be executed, but it's not going to be pretty ending for DIC or for the Maybelline Queen Shady Vance. If
Or
DIC
for the Goebbels reincarnate Stephen Miller. I mean,
oh yeah, well, he's got some huge issues coming his way, let me tell you.
yeah.
Janice says something here, and I really like what she says, and you all maybe can give your opinion on it. I got cold chills, which means a yes. She said Trump is arming the National Guard in D.C. He's counting on a Kent State incident. And
Absolutely.
that.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah, he is. Yeah. I had started whenever I saw it earlier. He, like I said, he is in the process of trying to get a reaction out of the Dems or out of the progressive side of things, not even necessarily the party, but just out of the people who have had enough of this BS and is ready for it to stop. They're going to keep pushing and keep going because they think if they can get everyone to react and get violent, then he can go in and claim martial law and shut down having elections and shut down all kinds of stuff. But we thought that little J6 thingy was really bad coming from their side. You let him start pulling some of the crap he is really trying to pull now, he's going to see a reckoning like he ain't never seen before.
Well, he's talking about flag burning as trying to incite riots and incite this and that. He's the biggest inciter of all. He incited trying to overturn the government on January the 6th. Hello.
But I'm just saying they keep at it and keep going, and they're going to get a reaction that they're going to make the Civil War and the American Revolution look like playing tiddlywinks.
That's what I pick up. The next thing is, I'm sorry, Shari, I'm just going through the comments here. And so
that's cool. That's cool.
Because you're always behind the scenes. And I think, okay, I'll do it. Except I keep talking, and if I talk too much, y'all just tell me to shut up. Okay. It says, Amanda Carroll says, I keep feeling the military turning on this regime. And I said that for a long time. My guides have shown me. that some of his generals and a lot of the military are going to say, we're not doing this. These orders are illegal. We're not going to do it. I saw y'all shake your heads.
I listened to another reader. She's somebody new I've just kind of stumbled across the last few weeks. And so whenever I can catch a minute to watch what she's saying, I listen. And she was talking about that very thing just the other day, and about the fact that with all that's going on, that she was talking about, she was being given visions and information that it's getting ready to be game on here.
Yes.
We're going to be civil war like we've never seen civil war, and it's going to make the first one look like nothing.
And people you don't want back. That's not pretty.
No, you don't. It's not pretty, and it's going to rip up families and rip apart communities like it did the first time. But
it already is.
We've allowed this small little contingent of folks in this country to literally stifle and silence the vast majority, because we outnumber them probably 5-1 as far as who's on which side, or who's leaving what. And it's the fact that they have, for the last 50 years, slowly been infiltrating from the lowest city or county job you can get, and then just infiltrating all the way up. But with the military, they've slowly been ousting, especially since he came back into office this time. They've been getting rid of all the generals and stuff who were the ones that told him no last go round. Like,
because he's replacing Magas, but it's those very generals he got rid of that'll be the ones that are behind the scenes that'll work to get rid of them.
Exactly. And what she was saying that I heard was that she was being given information that it's the regular men and women in the ranks that are going to turn their backs on them and say, no, we're not doing this.
That's what my guys have been telling me.
And when I heard her say it, I was like, that's exactly what I keep getting shown.
You know what? It already is ripping up families. My guides tell me this American apartheid is exactly what it is. Like it happened in South Africa, that little group of white racists controlled everybody. That's what's going on here, but this American apartheid will end. Amy, you were going to say something, so go ahead.
Yes. My nephew, my 33-year-old nephew, is a Marine, and he told me, I know this for a fact because, firsthand, but he told me that if he's ever told to fire on people, on American people, he will not do it. Even if it gets him court-martialed, he won't do it.
A lot of people are going to be that way.
Yeah.
So, and he voted for Trump, but he will not fire on us.
Exactly. Emerald Dawn made a comment about Newsom, the fact that he's shining a mirror at MAGA with all of this stuff, and to listen to them on Fox lose their collective poop over the stuff that he's doing. And I saw somebody on one of the programs, I saw a clip of it, and the guest was like talking about stuff that the current occupant is doing. And they immediately assumed he was talking about Gavin Newsom, and they started going off on that. He's like, that's not who I'm talking about. It's like, I'm talking about the president sitting in the White House. That's who I'm describing here.
They have a lot of a certain part of anatomy to criticize Newsom for those exact same things that Trump is doing. Is like, wait a minute here. And people are seeing through it. They're absolutely seeing through it. I mean, it's
and Emerald Dawn also asked about, she's in South Florida, and what will happen to the political environment here.
Well, at some point, I see Florida going purple, but not yet.
Not soon. And it's like a lot of areas. I mean, our last governor was a Democrat. he was a very conservative Democrat, but he was still a Democrat nonetheless. That's how we got the Medicaid expansion in Louisiana, was because of him. And our new governor, who's MAGA, has been balls to the walls of trying to see how much stuff he can cut off and how quickly he can get it done. I mean, the first major action he did was he completely dismantled and stopped the food program for kids in school to get free lunches. It was paid for by the federal government. All the state had to pay was just 50% of the administrative cost for somebody to run the program. And it basically provided free breakfast and lunch to kids in school, K through 12, year round, whether if it was school season or not.
My question is, where did that money go? That money that he let kids go hungry, what did he do with that money?
Oh, I'm sure it went right into his pocket. Where else is it going to go?
Somebody here said something, Becky Bednars, and I agree with her. He's freeing the prisoners and jailing the innocent. Isn't that the truth? All of those January 6th insurrectionists, the king of insurrection himself, Donald Trump, talks about burning a flag, that he's going to put people in jail. I don't agree with flag burning. I mean, when a flag has passed its usefulness, as old Windwalker here says in the comments, you're supposed to burn it. He said, not like protesters are doing. I don't agree with them burning flags, but the majority of us aren't burning the flags. It's the MAGAs that were out there doing it.
Exactly.
Let's put it where it
Well,
belongs.
just like when everybody sat at home and watched George Floyd get murdered live on air, and people just freaked out because that was during the pandemic. Everybody was at home, nobody was at work, and so they actually got a firsthand glimpse of what the hell had been going on forever. And now we have people that are actually, since he came in and started closing down all of these government offices and stuff, well, again, you got all these people that are now sitting at home with no damn job. And they're starting to see firsthand the crap he's with putting the National Guard into this state, moving them into that state. And we're gonna, if you don't sit here and publicly agree with the way I want to run things, and I'm just gonna take away your money going to your state, which he did to one of the governors. And her response was perfect. She says, "We'll see you in court."
Right. But they want to go to the courts because they think the court can't handle all the stuff that's gonna, but the courts will handle it.
Oh yeah.
My guides tell me that, that our courts will help hugely to save our democracy.
Exactly.
He's giving middle finger to the court. So how do you enforce? Go ahead, Amy. No, go.
I've got some good news at least. Gretchen, our governor, has said that this is going off topic a bit, but she has said that she will follow suit with Gavin, redistricting.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there are Democratic governors across the country that are doing that. They're like, yeah, if Texas can do it, then we can do it.
She said
But
that
they're doing it the way that Gavin Newsom is doing it. They're putting it to the people and saying, okay, look, we've got to combat this blatant cheating. And the only way we're going to do it is if we sort of cheat too. We've got to we've got to meet fire for fire. And people in the states are like, do it. You do whatever it takes to do it, to get rid of these people. And I don't know if Spirit was just teasing me or if it was an actual legit vision that I got, but I literally saw that with the new districts, the new Republican districts that Texas is drawing, that they all went to Democrats.
What? I'm sorry, say that again?
That they all went to Democrats.
Right.
That all of those special districts that Texas is drawing so they can have more Republicans in the House. Spirit showed me, yeah, no, they're going to all get filled by Democrats.
Because a lot of those Republicans in those districts don't like Trump, and they're going to vote Democratic or not vote for Trump.
Yeah.
So that's going to bite them in the butt. It really will. But I like what Amy said, that a lot of states are going to say, okay, if Texas can do it, then so can we. And did you hear that Abbott in Texas had the gall to criticize Newsom for redrawing districts?
Oh yeah. Oh, that's all. You can't do that,
Well,
but you can.
Well, here's the deal,
it-
though. Newsom was smart. Newsom said, we're going to do this the democratic way. We're putting it on the ballot, the referendum, to see what the voters want. And how can the Supreme Court? They got to go along with it pretty much, because they've already said that the states have the right to gerrymander. So, and I think Amy hit on something that a lot of those states, rather than do it the way Abbott did it, is going to say, no, we're going to put it on the ballot and let the voters decide. And that's how I see it playing out. So what's Trump going to say to that? Well, they cheated. They didn't do it right. Wrong answer. And so, but Shari, you're right too, because my guides tell me it's going to bite them in the butt, especially Abbott in Texas and
I
Florida.
was actually drawing on another question that kind of skirted that, but it wasn't specifically pointing to that when I got the vision. And it was like, whoa, wait a minute, what? And and they were quite literal about, yeah, the Dems are going to take all those seats. So I don't know if Spirit was just messing with me that day.
No,
or if they were like, yeah, hold on, girl. They think they're being smooth, but we're going to show them. So, I was
I'm
like, yeah,
hoping.
I can deal with that. So
go ahead. You can talk, Amy. We do it all the
time. Yeah, we always talk over each other.
time.
I've been trained to not talk over people. Got in trouble, but anyway, I live even though I'm in a blue state, I live on the Michigan-Indiana border. So the town that I live in is red. This whole area is red. So I'm hoping when they redistrict, they put me in a blue district, not a red district.
Yeah, but
Wouldn't that be nice?
District, you're going to be in that district.
Yeah, but still, I'll still be blue.
It doesn't matter, because the people that are in that district will still be in that district.
Yeah, I don't.
So I think it's going to come down to just who's running for office. If we continue, if the Democrats continue to, or if the younger people who are Democratic in their beliefs are willing to go forward and run for office and stick to their guns and stand up to the Nancy Pelosi's and the Chuck Schumers of the world and say, your time was great when you were here, but that time is over and now we've got to fight back. I think we're going to see a sea change turn in this country on a level that we weren't expecting.
Big time. It's going to be more people that have a set like Newsom and younger blood that's going to, even if they're older, still younger blood that will be like, wait a minute, we're tired of being reactive. That's the Dems' problem until Newsom's changing that. Rather than being reactive, we're going to be proactive. There's one thing you can say about Trump. As much as I cannot stand him, at least the MAGAs are proactive, albeit the stuff they're proactive about is bigoted, racist, and unconstitutional. They're not, sometimes they're reactive, like when him sending troops into the cities like, I'm the boss, I'm the bully, look what I can do. But the Dems need to learn that lesson. They need to be proactive.
Well, and I think it was Governor Pritzker that said the other day, it's time for us to stop standing around and wringing our hands and saying, oh, well, they're cheating. No shit, Sherlock. They're cheating. So let's do something about it. We can't keep playing by the rules when the other side has thrown the rule book out the window.
That's right. That's right.
It comes to a point where you have to fight fire to fire and you have to break the same damn rule and just assure your people, look, we know we're having to do it in a wrong way because it's the only way we're going to wrestle power back so that we can fix everything so it cannot happen again. And I think a lot of people are starting to wake up to that fact. That
Kathy says at least Trump's showing people what it's felt like to be unable to trust your own government like minorities. That's true.
Yeah, exactly. My son had a real, I guess you could say, a white privilege awakening moment. Years ago, he was with a couple of friends, a couple of young ladies he knew, and they had gone to California to go see one of his Navy buddies who, they were all out of the Navy now. And on the way back, as they were going through Texas, he had done the majority of the driving, but it got to where he was real tired. So they were like, yeah, we'll drive for a while. You go get in the back seat and go to sleep. So he's in the back seat sleeping when all of a sudden he gets woke up and these two young ladies are like freaking the hell out. They are just, both of them just losing it. And he's waking up. He's like, "What is going on?" And they're like, "Highway patrol, man! It's border patrol. They're searching everybody's cars and stuff." And he's like, "Okay, well, we don't have anything in the car to worry about." And both of the young ladies turned and looked at him and said, "We're brown." And my son was like, "And?" And they just looked at him and said, "Yeah, you're white. You're used to just cruising right through. We're brown. They're going to find a reason to detain us." And according to what my son told me, he was like, it finally clicked in his head what I used to tell him when I would tell him white privilege. He said, for the first time in my life, the light bulb went off. And I thought, I'm looking, okay, highway border patrol is there. Big deal. We're not doing anything wrong. But all he had to do was be in a car with someone who was not white and see their reactive fear to what they have always experienced with the same kind of law enforcement for him to get it. And I was like, yeah, I said, it's a real come to Jesus moment when you have something like that happen, when you suddenly realize I've operated my whole life with white privilege and didn't even know it. You know?
Ann Bennett says, I live in MAGA country. What's the best way to deal with the hardcore fanatics? I push back with the truth. When is this bubble going to burst? And in my psychic opinion, I think you have to do a Pete Buttigieg. When he was always on Fox and they would, hit him with all this stuff, and he would just respond. He didn't respond out of anger. I'm sure he was a lot, but he didn't show it. He had a poker face. He'd probably be a brilliant poker player. He just responded with the facts, the truth. Here are the facts. Da, 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 da. And a lot of the magazines will say no and just say, here are the facts, and check your facts and have your facts correct.
Yeah.
But hit them with the facts. And you're not going to change them. But on the same token, you have to let them know that you're responding with facts and what you're saying just isn't true. Now, if you want to talk to me with facts, then we'll talk. Until that point, there's really not much to talk about because you got your facts wrong, or you're lying, or you're drinking the Kool-Aid.
Or all of the above.
With facts.
Yeah.
You won't change a lot of them. But on the same token, you're letting them know that you can stand up and say, wait a minute, that's not true. The facts don't support that.
It's weird that you're putting it that way, because when I did my lunchtime thing today, and towards the end, that's where spirit led me. And the message was, we have got to know our facts and figures so that anytime and every time somebody starts with the BS, we can, in a loving way, not in a mean way or a rude way, but we can simply say, well, actually, if you Google the facts on this and look at the numbers, it actually says the opposite, or this, that, or the other. I said it's going to be very imperative for us to know our facts, to know what it is we're talking about, and that we've got the money behind us to show it. We've got the numbers, we've got the information, we know who said it, when they said it, why they said it. I said, and that can make a huge difference with someone that you think is not listening to your side. And if you continue to hit them with enough facts that they can then go, when they go home, and go get on their own safe computer to Google the information,
You know, it's funny.
And,
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
oh no, I was just going to say, and the 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 interview that I saw that led to why I did the reading today, uh, they were talking about the fact that that as they're trying to get the facts out there, one of them decided to go onto Truth Social, which is the current occupant's Twitter feed, this personal one, and they put it into the AI, the events of January 6th. And what did that mean? What was that? Oh my God, even the AI over on his side is just like calling it out. Is all they have to do is put the information in there. And it's coming up on their site, so they can't claim it's leftist stuff. You know, this is on your True Social. You know,
I think too, you have to look at it on an individual basis, because a couple of my clients were like, you know, I don't know how I got off on the subject, but I said, you know, I just think that wholesale rounding up of people and deporting them because they have a Latino last name is wrong. Oh, but those people are criminals. I said, how are they criminals? They couldn't answer me. Well,
yeah,
gang. I said, none of those people are in gangs. How are they criminals? Well, they didn't have papers. I said, did your parents when they came here? Did your grandparents? My
yeah,
grandparents didn't. My great grandparents didn't. Well, so how do you feel then about, you know, people who aren't born of American citizens who live in this country being born American citizen? You wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. I
yeah.
said, and let me ask you a
The
question.
current occupant wouldn't be.
I said, let me ask you a question. Is your cleaning people, do they have their papers? Well, no. I said, oh. Are they criminals? Well, no. Well, yeah, they are according to you because they don't have papers. So why don't you just call ICE and have them deported? Well, that would be wrong. Oh, but it's okay for them to deport people that you don't know that have absolutely no criminal record, and some are citizens and haven't done anything. I mean, just because they're here without papers doesn't make them a violent criminal.
Yeah.
You know, they've got businesses, they pay taxes, but not everybody that's being rounded up, many of them are
Yeah,
citizens.
or the fact that they're going to courthouses where people are following through on their legally mandated court dates to file
And
for
being
everything.
rounded up.
Yeah,
Right.
just snatch them from the courthouse.
I mean,
Y'all, I just had a vision.
go ahead.
While you guys were talking about all this crap, they showed me a snowy hill, like a really lot of snow, and the hill was really steep, and a snowball started. They got a snowball started, and it started going downhill. Um, and that's us. The snowball's us. Things are already starting, and it's getting a little bigger and a little bigger and a little bigger. And what I saw was by September, beginning of October, crap will hit the fan. But even though things will be like kind of tough by the end of the year, that snowball will be going faster and faster and faster and faster to the point where they can't stop it at all.
That snowball is going to be an avalanche, and you can't stop an avalanche.
Right.
Yeah,
So by
exactly.
next year, it'll be so big, they'll be like, holy crap. So, and that's us, y'all. That's us. We're not
Evil.
gonna, we're not gonna let this. We're not letting this go. And the more, or the later the year goes, the more stuff we do, and they won't be able to stop us.
More momentum the avalanche gets.
Yeah.
Yes. You know, T.
Yeah.
Liz says Bulwark just posted a short video of a veteran across the street from the White House burning a flag to protest that order.
Yeah.
And
And
that's
look at all of the protests that have
not, not to desecrate the flag, but to say to Trump, here it is. You cannot take away our constitutional rights any longer.
right. And when you look at since November, how many instantaneous protests or public gatherings, because YouTube doesn't want you to say protest anymore. Go figure that one out.
Marches. How about one?
Yeah, or just the marches or just whatever. And it's all being done without social media. There are events happening where it's a handful of people over in this little city who decides, well, let's go stand in front of the governor's mansion or whatever and just give our opinion, and before you know it, half the damn state is there to back them up. It's like news is getting shared in a way that even social media can't catch up with, and people are finding out about it. It's just word of mouth. I mean, there was a group of veterans that were going to go to the White House this past weekend to voice their displeasure in what's happening. And they wound up getting vets coming from all over the country, not just that one little area where they were talking about it. And it's like, that's amazing. It really is. So
Jay Roberts says Trump is saying he's not a dictator, and I heard that. I'm not a dictator, but
except for day one.
you need a dictator. What?
Yeah.
You forgotten about democracy? Catherine Gilbert says, I live in New Jersey. My husband gets bullied at work. They call liberal Mike that it's a cult, maddening. Okay, well,
Yeah.
they can call them that all they want. And I could say, hey, you believe the way you believe. I believe the way I believe. But I don't call you racist or bigot or all kinds of nasty names. And how would you feel if I called you that? And they would be the first ones saying, you can't talk to me that way. Well, if you dish it out, you need to be able to take it.
Yeah, it's like turnabout's fair play, and they don't know how to handle it.
They can't handle it.
They don't know how to deal with the fact that for once the Democrats aren't standing in the corner wringing their hands and boohoo sobbing, that oh, they're cheating, or oh, they did this, or oh, it's against the rules. No, Democrats are standing up and saying F you and your little dog too. I mean, look at that representative in Texas who refused to sign a permission slip to give her 24/7 police escort to make sure that she only went to places where she's supposed to go. And she told them to eat it, that she wasn't signing any paper. And she's been stuck in the Texas
I remember
State
that.
House.
And she is not going to sign it.
No, and she's been there almost a week now.
If she took that to the Supreme Court, they would say, wait, you can't restrict her freedom of movement. Can't do that. I mean, they had nothing on her. She didn't do anything wrong.
Exactly.
I like this about the farmers, the fruit and vegetable pickers, migrant farm workers. But as they're talking about this, my psychic light bulb went on. And all of a sudden, here's what I saw. A lot of these migrant workers and a lot of these farm workers are going to unionize.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to say, we're only going to work X amount of hours. We want these conditions. We want to be able to have our cold water breaks. We want the same kinds of benefits that other people get. I see them unionizing it. And it's going to happen within the next 3 to 5 years. They're going to form a union on their own. And I'm telling you, it's going to be powerful.
Yeah.
A lot of the fruit growers will then say, well, we'll just move our fruits to third world countries like they did in Hawaii. In Hawaii, they would grow pineapples and sugar canes. And when the workers unionized and the unions became very powerful there, it was about maybe 20 years ago, 15 years ago, about 20. The pineapple people said, oh, well, we're going to close our pineapple fields. We'll keep the land, but we're just going to start growing pineapples in other places like third world countries. So they pay those workers maybe $1 or $2 a day, and then they raise the price of pineapple. And they can't say Hawaiian grown, but they can say Hawaiian pineapple. The same with sugar. They did the same with
Yeah.
sugar. And then they raised prices on sugar. And guess what? We were paying more for sugar, and they made billions. So I think there's going to be legislation passed to say if those fruit growers decide to do that, then they can't grow crops here at all. And that's what I see happening. My guides just showed me that. What do you all think about it?
I agree.
I agree completely. You hit the nail on the head.
And if those growers say we're going to grow it somewhere else, they're going to say,
It's already happening. There's
so why the heck
already
you grow it in a third world country?
there are already other countries that are now setting up
Back here, you're going to, guess what? You're going to have to pay tariffs, and you can't price gouge on it. And if you're going to grow it there, then you can no longer grow stuff like that or fruit here ever again. So do what you're going to do.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
And it's already happening in some of the in some of the states, especially those that have a heavy farming community. You know, that their people are like, you've sent all of my workers away. How the hell are we supposed to fill our orders and, you know, pick our produce and our and whatnot and deal with all that. Now I have nobody to work here.
Well, somebody says
roll up your sleeves.
Somebody says in the comments, we won't need migrant farm workers much longer because of AI robot fruit and vegetable pickers. That's true, but you're talking about maybe 20 years in the future. That's a long way off.
To an extent, there are a lot of fruits and stuff that the reason why there aren't machines picking them now is because the fruit is so fragile on the bush or the tree that it has to be hand picked because it has to be handled a certain way.
Right.
So that the fruit, not only is the fruit good, but it doesn't harm the plant. And if you used a machine, it would harm the plant. So next year you would have no crop. Or if you did get a crop, it would only be half as good as the crop before.
The plants are speaking back as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I live
I
really.
didn't even know that.
Oh,
I'm sorry, Amy.
So I live really close to a huge corn field and a huge wheat field, and both are rotting on the vine because nobody's picking them.
Yeah.
And if you guys love corn, a lot of it was coming from Michigan. So, but I think from what I heard, the man who owns that farm is making arrangements to have it done overseas already. This is going to be the last, I think that's going to be the last crop I see here.
Yeah, that's happening with a lot of them. It's giving incentive to move everything to another country.
But then the prices will go up, and they're going to pay a lot cheaper because they're going to say, "Oh, well, we have to ship it back to the States." And I guess the thing is just boycott that fruit. That's the answer, because if you don't eat the fruit, they ain't got nobody to sell it to.
Yeah.
But I love corn.
Well, guys, we've been at this 1 hour and 28 minutes.
Whew.
Wow, that's a long time. I know Mel normally doesn't go this long. And
I was on a roll.
We were on a roll tonight. That's it. And
that's
at
right.
one point we had over 200 in the chat, so I was like, "Whoa!"
Sorry, everybody, that I talk so much, but
no.
I'm just mad about what he's doing, and I can see right through it. I do want to say one thing. Jana says, as a brown woman, Air Force officer's daughter, I can tell you that the WASP, that means, for those of you who didn't come up in the 70s, it means white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, that the WASP are good with using prison slave labor. That is true, but there's not enough prisoners for that.
No.
Oh, I also
because
found
the prisoners that they're capturing, they're shipping to other countries.
Say again, Amy, I'm sorry.
I'm not happy about what I just found out, but there was a closed, defunct correctional facility, about maybe 5 hours from where I live, that is now open to be a detention center.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm not happy about it.
Call it
And
what it is. Concentration camp.
Yep.
That's
And
it.
Gretchen isn't happy about it, and she's trying to get it closed. But yeah, it's open for now.
And they're for profit, by the way, those places. They're not owned by the states, they're owned privately, and they get
Yeah.
X amount of money a day per prisoner. So that's another reason why Trump is rounding up people, because he's probably got his hand in that deal too.
Absolutely.
Better close it.
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
I said, Gretchen, better close it and quick, because I'm
legally,
like, huh?
I don't know if legally she can, but she can go on the bandwagon against it.
True. I'm just really angry that my state is doing this. I'm just not happy.
There's laws in the state to prevent it from happening.
That's what makes me, I think, the angriest is the fact that they are more than willing to break whatever laws they need to break to do this nonsense. And then the minute somebody stands up against them to do it, you can't do that. It's against the law. Well, excuse me, didn't you just break the same damn law?
Exactly.
You know?
Can we finish with this one, Sherry?
Sure.
Hold on, give me a second. I got to find it again. Kathy Gilbert, this is a really good one, Catherine. They're saying if you receive food stamps or welfare, you're going to work 30 hours. Like, it's a lazy thing. It is not a lazy thing. I understand what Kathy is saying. It's like some people, because they're on welfare and they're getting food stamps, is because they might be infirmed. They're unable to work.
They're 2 months old.
And some of them are working. Hello. So for them to say that people on food stamps or Medicaid or welfare are lazy, are there abuses to the system? Of course. But look how the
You're always going to get abuses in the system.
How the MAGAs are abusing the system, how much money they're pocketing, the billions that they're making on these concentration camps, on everything else.
And the thing is if they properly funded and staffed these organizations, you wouldn't have near the amount of fraud in them that you currently do.
Correct.
But when you cut the funding and cut the staffing to the point that those who work in that system can't even begin to keep up with what's going on, that's when you see a lot of waste and fraud and abuse, because there's nobody there to check it, to
There's
make
not
sure
much money in the store. But you know what? But I think, but the problem is that, there's a few entitled people who think that people who are underprivileged, it's not because of their own choice, but they have no way to get ahead. And the bottom line is, you're going to say to them, in order to get food stamps or welfare, you have to work 30 hours when they're probably already working part-time and they're underpaid. And to be underpaid is just as bad. To be underemployed is just as bad as to be not employed. So,
I mean,
absolutely.
I worked.
Go ahead.
I worked until I couldn't anymore, because my heart gave out and I couldn't work. So, and plus with my cerebral palsy, I finally got on it after going in front of a judge. I got it after 5 years of fighting, but if I don't have it, I die.
Yeah.
I can't work.
And even then, what you're paying you is not enough to live on.
No, it's not. It's not. That's I'm living with my brother.
Right. So, so the system is really heavily unfair. And you're again tilted toward, white privileged people.
Like I chose to have cerebral palsy. Excuse me.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
or, and it was my choice for the drunk driver to hit me.
Right, exactly. It was my choice to have cancer. Didn't you know that? I chose that.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom
And not
chose.
just once, but twice. Yeah, I mean, it's the arguments they make for some of this crap is just so, it literally makes your head hurt trying to figure out how they got from point A to point D. And you're like, what happened to the in between steps? I mean,
It's
how
an
did you
insult.
go from here to over here? That makes no sense at all. I mean,
They just throw something at the wall and whatever sticks, that's what they go with.
yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
you're looking at them with a look like a deer in the headlights, like,
Like
what?
what?
You know, I mean, it's like Jay Roberts says in the comments, you can't live on $11 an hour. You'd have to do another
No,
job. You can't live on that. There's no
you
way.
can't.
Anyway,
I'll say it. I get $724 a month. That's it.
Yeah, you want to tell me where Amy's going to live and eat and everything to have a well functioning life for $700 a month?
no, nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, my mom got from her Social Security, she got $718 a month. And out of that, she had to pay for her Medicare because Medicare is not free anymore. You have to pay for it now. She had to pay taxes on that money, which is illegal if you think about it, because it's double taxation. Because what is Social Security? It's taxed income. It's taxes that you paid into the system when you were working. And now they're taxing you on taxed money. That's double taxation. That's against the law. Um, on top of that, you've got people who are seriously disabled or mentally challenged or whatever the case may be that can't get up and go get a regular job. No one's going to hire them. And in a lot of ways, they would be at greater risk to the lives of others that they would be working with if they did attempt to go and work a full-time job, you know. I saw one lady in the town hall, and she was, the whoever the representative was talking about, they're lazy people and they don't work. And she's like, my son or grandson, I don't remember now which one it was, gets Medicaid and disability. And you're going to stand there and tell me that he shouldn't get it because he's too lazy to work. He's 5 months old. You tell me where a 5-month-old is going to get a job and make a decent living. I mean, it shut the guy down completely, because
Anyway,
and the whole room erupted. I mean, it's happening all over the country in little pockets that we least expect it to happen. And
But I don't see us having to deal with it longer.
Yeah, it's just gonna take a while.
well,
Mhm.
I've got
Guys, we've been at this an hour and 38 minutes. Mel, thank you
Yeah.
so much for hanging along. I know we were all fired up tonight. Amy, thank you for filling in for Arthur and coming on tonight. I'm very glad you were here. Thank
Thank you
all
for
of
having
you for coming and sharing your evening with us. We tried to hit as many of your comments as we could. I think between the three of us, we were just plucking things out of the chat. I mean, and it's hard because this is why I do backstage for Mel and Arthur and Colleen and several of them, because it's hard to keep up with keeping a conversation, doing reading, tuning in, and running the chat at the same time.
when I'm looking down, I'm writing notes. I'm scrolling through the chat. That's what I was doing as Shari was talking. That's how I was. I can't star them on here, but I was like, okay, here's one. Here's one.
You
Here's
need to
one.
remind me I can change that so you can do that when we do our shows. And I forget.
Amy, let's do this again. This has been wonderful.
Well, thank you so
Absolutely.
much. I really enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
We're getting ready to start our monthly show back up again.
You guys are saying you need to get back on YouTube.
Yeah.
I am. I'm in the
Amy and I
process.
are getting ready to start up our monthly show again, which is on cold cases.
Yay.
And
Cold cases,
monthly
paranormal.
mysteries with Amy and Shari. So
I've got
paranormal, cold cases, murder crimes, whatever.
Missing.
Yeah, missing people. It's fun to do. So
Yeah.
Your guides are saying they're going to keep pushing you until you do it, Amy.
yeah.
And I know, but with
Exactly.
this last year, it was kind of hard for me to do with
I got
dealing
it.
with my mom. And
But now you're ready.
Yeah.
Now she's coming back. So that's why when she was like, I'm ready, I'm like, good, okay, come on. So we're gonna get you in
Honor
here.
to when you come back to be able to have you on, and what an honor. Thank you so much for having the courage to do this and for coming forth to talk about your CP and give people hope.
oh, thank
Absolutely.
you. I'm humbled.
All right, y'all. Y'all have a great evening. Mel will be back tomorrow night with Arthur. Aloha Tuesday. I'll be backstage pulling the strings, so they'll be fine. And Wednesday night, Sisters of the Mystical Tarot. I'll be on. I think Marina's hosting this week, so we'll be on her channel. And then I don't know more stuff after that, and I don't have my book open, and I don't remember off the top of my head. So
Not be on
you can go to my community tab. I post my schedule for the week every Sunday. I post it going forward for the week, so you can see where I'm at and what time and what day and all that fun stuff. So.
And I will be on with Hershey on the 28th.
There you go. There you go. That's a lot of fun. Hershey's a sweetie. And
Love her.
And I'll be on tomorrow morning early and morning moments with Mel. It'll probably be about 20 minutes. I'm going to do it tonight when we're done with this. I got one more to go.
yeah, I got a couple of vids I got to make too. So
I'm going to exit stage left. And notice I didn't say exit stage right. It's always stage.
No, we going left.
Stage middle. How about that?
We all going left.
All right.
All right, y'all. Have a great evening. Thank you for spending your evening with us. We appreciate it. And we'll be back in a couple of weeks.